The housekeeper had no idea she was being recorded by the homeowner. When they viewed the footage, they were stunned. Pippa felt uneasy about her housekeeper Jackie, so she installed cameras around the house without notifying either her husband or Jackie. Sam was aware of Jackie's plan, and it worked just as planned. The footage she captured exposed the truth right away. Jackie's true intentions. Pippa could not believe she ever trusted this woman. Pippa was burning with rage. After viewing the secret camera footage of Jackie, it confirmed her suspicions and worst fears. She wanted to confront the housekeeper before she left her house. She had not even told her husband Sam about what she was doing, and for a good reason. Luckily, she was just in time. Jackie was putting the finishing touches on the home when Pippa burst into the front door, scaring the living daylight out of her. Jackie had not expected Pippa home until tomorrow, and her boss wasted no time clarifying why she had come. When Pippa told Jackie about the hidden cameras, the housekeeper's face went ghostly white. She knew that there was no way around it. Pippa had seen everything, but what had Jackie seen on the camera footage? Why had she been suspicious, and what had Jackie been up to behind her? Hey, there are viral videos here. Before we go on like this video, smash the subscribe button and click the notification bell. We post the most beautiful, amazing, and scary videos every single day. Let's proceed with the video. Jackie was doing such a great job that Sam and Pippa even recommended her to their friends and neighbors. Many of them hired her, and everyone was delighted. While Jackie worked her ass off, she was with a family almost every day to clean up their house. A lot of the husbands seemed especially happy with her, but Sam didn't hire her for her looks. He didn't understand why his friends were so excited about Jackie. For him, no one was as beautiful as his wife, Pippa. He had met Pippa in high school, and they fell instantly for each other. They dated for about 7 years and had been married for 7. They never actually had their honeymoon because they were both too busy with work. But now that they have Jackie, Sim thought it was time for them to get away for a week. So they asked Jackie to stay in their home to care for their plants and cat as long as they were out, and she was happy to do so. A little too happy. Their honeymoon is in 2 weeks and everything is taken care of. But Pippa has heard some strange stories about Jackie, and she is starting to get doubts. She didn't want to tell her husband at first because she had assured him it would be fine. But now Jackie was going to stay in their house for a longer period of time. So before Pippa was ready to tell her husband, she wanted proof. Otherwise, Sam would brush it off and tell her not to worry. So she thought of a plan. She told Sam she was heading to work a little later, but she actually hid in a closet and waited for Jackie to arrive. She wanted to see if the rumors were true. Jackie arrived in the afternoon. Pippa found this a little strange because they paid Jackie from 10 o'clock, so she decided to get out of the closet to get a better look at what Jackie was doing. She heard a lot of noise from the kitchen, but when she looked around the corner, Jackie was only cleaning out the dishwasher. Pippa decided to come out of hiding and give Jackie the benefit of the doubt. She walked around the corner and greeted Jackie. Pippa had never been home before during Jackie's cleaning hours, so she seemed a little startled, but she smiled through it. Pippa told her she was leaving, and Jackie seemed relieved. Jackie was disappointed that Pippa was home the day she came to work late. She had planned something for today, but canceled it today. Wouldn't work anymore because Pippa had already caught her being late. So instead, she worked extra hard to compensate in the hope that people would forget about that. But Pippa didn't forget. She had to think of another plan to see what Jackie was up to when she was alone in the house. Simmons, Pippa had always thought about security cameras, but they never went through with them. But now seemed the right time to get them installed. Anyway, she called the company and they told her they could come the following weekend. That worked perfectly because Jackie only works from Monday to Friday. Made sure that her husband was out that day. She had sent him to the store with a very long list. He wouldn't be home for the next 2 hours. The workers came and went right at it. They installed the cameras in the kitchen, living room, laundry room, bedroom, and guest rooms. Almost every angle of the house was visible on camera except for the bathroom and some other corners. People had asked them to make the cameras as invisible as. Even her husband, Sam, didn't notice the cameras when he returned. That gave Pippa a secure feeling. Her plan would work. They left for their honeymoon the following Monday. Jackie came in early so they could walk through the house together. Pippa was relieved to see that. Jackie also didn't notice the cameras. She went on her honeymoon with comfort knowing that everything would be recorded. She thought that nothing could go wrong, but Jackie had other plans. She had no clue that she was being recorded, so naturally she didn't act like it either. Pippa had planned to look at the footage that evening, but when they arrived at their apartment, it turned out that the camera app didn't work yet. Pippa felt powerless. She had to wait until they returned to review all the footage. How could she enjoy her honeymoon? With all this stress lingering over her head, she felt like she had to tell her husband about the cameras. Sam wasn't happy with Pippa going behind his back to install those cameras, as she suspected he didn't understand because she had assured him everything would be fine. But after hearing why she felt like she had to do it, he understood. They enjoyed the rest of their honeymoon together. When Southeast and Pippa returned home, their house looked the same, cleaner even. Try to look back at all the footage, but it didn't record anything because she had forgotten to connect the cameras to the app. She felt like a failure, but was determined to find out what was going on with Jackie. Her neighbor had told Pippa that he had heard strange sounds from their home in the past week and that there had been different cars in the driveway. This worried Pippa, and she went straight to her husband together. They came up with a different plan. This time they would go to a nearby hotel. Sam actually wanted to have a conversation with Jackie about Pippa's suspicions so that they would not have to bother invading her privacy with the cameras again. But Pippa did not see this as an option at all. Her paranoia had started to reach new levels with all the time she was left in the dark about Jackie. She had come up with 1,001 things that Jackie could be doing in their house without them knowing. And when the neighbor told her about the strange sounds, there was no stopping Jackie's imagination. The cameras would stay. Part of Pippa thought that Jackie might end up finding it suspicious that they would leave for a night so soon again. They almost never went out. And now going back to back had to have her raise an eyebrow, but Pippa should not have worried, as Jackie was only happy that she was getting another chance to execute her plans. And so it happened. Sam people left the following weekend for their romantic night away, but there was nothing romantic about it. Hallam spent the evening with his friend while Pippa got a cheap hotel room and started stalking the cameras to see what Jackie was up to. Pippa didn't care that her husband was out with his friends. She didn't even ask where they were going. All she could think about was Jackie doing God knows what in her house. People wondered if her neighbors felt the same way about Pippa or that she only did this at their place, but her questions would soon be answered. Sam, on the other hand, felt completely the opposite about this situation. He didn't like snooping around in people's private business, but there was no stopping his wife when she had made her mind up about something, and know how she had made her mind up about Jackie because of their different look on this situation. They decided to spend the night apart, but that would end up being a big. This way, Pippa had no voice of reasoning and could spiral out of control in seconds, and Sam wouldn't know about this until it's too late. Wiles was out drinking and partying with his friends. He didn't think about his wife for a second, but she didn't think about her husband either. They were both so focused on themselves. Pippa kept looking at her iPad, following Jackie's every move around the house. This time, she will catch her hours passed in. Pippa didn't look away from her iPad once her eyes started to burn and her tummy was rumbling. She checked the time and was shocked that it was already 8 o'clock. She had been looking at the camera footage since noon against her own while she decided to look away and order food. It was only a few minutes, but Pippa felt like she had missed hours of Jackie's moves. She wasn't on the couch anymore where she had been when Pippa closed the app. Pippa searched for Jackie through all the camera screens, but she was nowhere to be found. How is this? Pippa felt slightly panicked. What if Jackie had noticed the cameras? That would be catastrophic for her plan. She called her neighbor to ask if she could look over the fence. The neighbor was a little hesitant, but Pippa reminded him of the strange noises. So the neighbor looked over the fence. To their surprise, nothing strange was happening in or around the house. Jackie wasn't even home anymore. Her car was gone. This frustrated Pippa, but she hid her feelings. If someone knew about what she was doing, they would call her crazy or even inform Jackie about it, and she couldn't let that happen. Staring at the screen had become an obsession for Pippa. She didn't answer her texts or pick up her calls, not even when Sim called her 3 times in a row because of the EM started to worry about his wife and decided to go to the hotel room. But what he sees there shocks him. When Sim entered the room, he was shocked to see the state his wife was. She sat crouched on the bed with the iPad between her legs and her head down, staring at the screen. She didn't even flinch when Sam entered the room. He had never seen his wife like this before. Sam felt like he had to do something. This couldn't go on any longer than it already has. He grabbed the iPad from Pippa and held it above his head. Pippa lifted her head slowly and stared at him with a terrifying look on her face. Then, out of nowhere, she jumped up and yanked the iPad out of Sam's hands. Sam was so startled by his wife's behavior that he left the room without saying a word. He didn't know who his wife was anymore. People watched him walk away and did feel sad about it, but her feelings towards spying on Jackie were stronger, and it turned out she had every right to be suspicious. As people was still staring at the closed door, she noticed something in the corner of her eye. There was movement in her house again. Jackie had returned home and something had changed about her. She held weird objects in her hand and paced nervously around the house. People wondered why she was acting like this and zoomed in on the objects in Jackie's hand. She was holding random tools. What would she need those for? Had she broken something on accident? But it will soon be clear to people what Jackie is doing, or rather planning. This can't be good. Jackie then went into the bathroom. Pippa didn't have cameras in there, so she couldn't see what Jackie was doing, but she kept track of the time. Jackie came out of the bathroom 15 minutes later. This started Pippa's spiral. What could she possibly be doing in the bathroom for so long? Then Jackie does something. Pippa can't explain. It was very alarming to see, and people wanted to go home immediately. But Pippa hesitated for a moment. Was it finally time to go home and confront Jackie about what she had seen? She was about to turn off the iPad when she saw something that made her blood boil. Pippa stared at the screen in disbelief. How could someone they had trusted for so long with their house and their belongings betray them like that? She couldn't believe what she was seeing. This was even worse than she expected it to be. Her husband had to believe her. Now she felt a rage growing inside her, and she couldn't control herself anymore. After everything she had done, she had finally caught Jackie in the act. She ran to her car and drove home with incredible speed. She needed to be there as soon as possible before anything could get out of hand. Luckily, Pippa was just in time. Jackie was finishing the home when Pippa burst into the front door, scaring the living daylight out of her. Jackie had not expected Pippa home until tomorrow, and her boss demanded an explanation immediately, but Jackie was so shocked she couldn't speak. After a few minutes, it started to sink in with Jackie. She had been caught red-handed, but she didn't know. Her boss had proof, so she tried to talk herself out, and as despaired as Jackie wished, she called Sam. She thought she could flirt her way out of this situation, but she was horribly wrong. Sam arrived in minutes. He had rushed home because of Jackie's call. He worried that his wife would do something she would regret later, but Pippa had her proof ready. She took her iPad out of her bag and showed some of the footage. Jackie had no idea what was happening or what people showed her husband, but it couldn't be, because EM turned back to Jackie with an angry look on his face. How could Yui yelled at her? She still tried to explain, but Pippa and M knew everything was a lie. They showed Jackie the footage and she turned as white as a ghost. Everything had been captured on camera. There was no way out of this. Jackie felt defeated and decided to tell them the truth. She had staged a break-in and filled her car with all kinds of valuable items. She planned to sell everything for a lot of money to go to. She had lied about going to Yale on her resume because she never had the money for it. Pippa couldn't believe what she was hearing. Her anger faded and she started to feel sorry for Jackie here. They were living in a big house with all these nice things they never even use. She hugged Jackie and told her stealing was never an option, but they weren't going to the police. Instead, they did something unexpected. Pippa and Sam decided to sponsor Jackie so she could go to college. Jackie was very grateful for their kindness, and she stayed their housekeeper for a little bit until she got too busy with school. She later graduated and paid everything back to Pippa and Sam. What did you think of this story? Let me know your thoughts on the comments, like the video and subscribe. See you next time.